You know, in the constant cat and mouse game of cybersecurity, attackers are always hunting for that next clever edge. So today, we're going to break down a really fascinating technique. It doesn't, kick down the front door. Instead, it just convinces the digital guard to take a quick nap, and it does it using the system's very own tools.
And that really is the central question here, right? Endpoint Detection and Response Systems, EDRs, they're the digital sentinels on our machines. They are literally designed to be always on, always watching. So for an attacker, disabling them is kind of the holy grail. But how in the world do you stop something that's built to be unstoppable? Well, for a long time, the go-to method was this thing called BYOVD, which stands for Bring Your Own Vulnerable Driver. Honestly, just think of it like bringing a battering ram to a castle siege. Sure, it gets the job done, but man, is it noisy and it leaves a ton of evidence. EDR-Freeze, though, is completely different. It's way more like finding a secret password, using tools that Windows already knows and trusts to become almost invisible. So this entire technique, and this is the crazy part, it all hinges on a hidden side effect, this really powerful capability that's buried inside a completely legitimate, everyday Windows function. This little discovery is the key that unlocks the whole shebang. And that function is called MiniDumpWriteDump. Okay, so its day job is pretty straightforward. When a program crashes, this function acts like a black box recorder. It takes a quick snapshot of its memory, that's the MiniDump, so developers can go back and figure out what went wrong. It's an absolutely critical tool for debugging, and it's built right into Windows. Okay, but this is the kicker. This is the critical side effect. To get a clean, uncorrupted snapshot of that crashing program, the function has to momentarily freeze everything inside of it. It suspends all its threads. And that little pause, that momentary freeze, that is the secret ingredient for this entire exploit. Right, but of course, it's never that simple, is it? Having the key is one thing, but actually using it to open a high-security lock is a whole other story. The researchers behind this ran into two massive challenges when they tried to turn this function against an EDR. First, that freeze is just way too fast. The function works so quickly that the process is suspended and then resumed in literally the blink of an eye, not nearly long enough for an attacker to do anything. But the bigger problem, the real roadblock, is that EDRs are armored. They run as a protected process light, or PPL, which is basically a digital force field that stops other processes, even ones with admin rights, from messing with them. And that protection is incredibly strong. PPL is a core Windows security feature that pretty much tells the operating system, hey, this process is mission critical. Don't let anything touch it, period. So how do you get past a shield like that? Well, you don't go through the shield. You find someone who's already on the inside. And this is where the solution gets all heist movie on us. It's this ingenious, two-part plan based on winning a split-second race. So allow me to introduce you to the inside man, WerFaultSecure.exe. This little guy is the executable for Windows error reporting. When a protected app crashes, this is the trusted process that Windows itself calls on to handle all the cleanup and reporting. So why is this the perfect accomplice? Well, for one, the system trusts it implicitly. It's a native part of Windows. Two, it can be granted the highest level of PPL protection. And three, this is the most important part, it can be told to run that MiniDumpWriteDump function on our protected EDR. It basically has the security clearance to just walk right past the guards. Okay, so here is how it all comes together in this brilliant race against the clock. Step 1. The attacker's tool launches WerFaultSecure and tells it, hey, go create a memory dump of the EDR. Step 2. WerFaultSecure, being the good soldier it is, starts its job, and for just a split second, it freezes all the threads inside the EDR. Now here comes the checkmate. In that exact instant, the attacker's tool suspends WerFaultSecure itself. So now the EDR is trapped in a frozen state because the very process that was supposed to unfreeze it is now also on ice. Just brilliant. So that's the theory, right? A bit complex, but this entire intricate dance has been automated into a simple, elegant tool. Let's take a look at what it actually looks like to use it. And would you look at that? After all that complexity we just walked through, the command itself is just beautiful in its simplicity. You just run the program, you give it the process ID, the PID of your target, and then you tell it how long you want it suspended, in milliseconds. That's it. And just to be clear, this isn't some theoretical thing. It absolutely works. In a test against a fully updated Windows 11 machine, the tool successfully suspended the main process for Windows Defender for a full 5,000 milliseconds. That's 5 seconds. Now, 5 seconds might not sound like a lot to us, but in the world of computing, that is an eternity, more than enough time for an automated script to get in, do its dirty work, and get out. So, if you're an attacker, how do you use this? You're not going to freeze the EDR for an hour. That would probably just crash the system and set off every alarm bell. No, you play it smart. You use short, surgical freezes. You pause the EDR for just a couple of seconds, run your malicious script while it's effectively blind, and then you let it resume as if nothing ever happened. Maximum impact, minimum footprint.
Okay, so we've seen the attack. Now for the big question. What does this mean for that never-ending battle between the attackers and the defenders? Let's break down the playbook for both sides.
For the attacker, the playbook is all about stealth and automation. Short pauses, scripted actions, get in and get out. But for the defenders, it's not hopeless. The key is to watch that inside man. Since this whole attack relies on abusing WerFaultSecure.exe, you can monitor for it acting weird. Is it running when there wasn't a crash? What process is it targeting? If you see it suddenly pointing at your EDR agent or another sensitive process, that is a massive red flag. So when you really boil it all down, the key takeaway here is that EDR-Freeze represents a pretty significant evolution in these evasion techniques. It moves away from those noisy kernel-level exploits, and instead it operates entirely in user mode, using tools that are already on the system and, more importantly, are trusted by it. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes the biggest threats come from turning a system's own strengths against itself.
And that leaves us with a fascinating and maybe slightly unsettling question to think about. This technique weaponized the Windows Error Reporting Service. It really makes you wonder, what other benign, trusted processes are just lurking inside our operating systems, hiding some unknown side effect, just waiting to be discovered and turned into the next generation of stealthy attacks?